Welcome back to episode 5. And something doesn't seem right here. Hold on. Woo! I'm late. Sorry. I think things are back to normal now. So, in the last episode, we finished up a lot of this kind of coastal decoration around the base. And we also constructed this really nice temple in order to fit our beacon in seamlessly. And today I want to focus on polishing up this area over here, working on the interiors across all of these buildings, and also sorting out the basement that I have yet to deal with down here. Someone's throwing tridents at me. Did he drop anything? Nope. So for the time lapse in the last video, I actually misplaced the structure by one block to make it a bit more grand and fit along the path a bit nicer. But now that means we have to go all the way back down. We're going to have to quickly put in another emerald to get Haste 2 activated again. I forgot to select Haste 2. So let's talk about this area for a bit. I have removed my enchanting setup and I have it in my inventory. But I want to have this area feel very full of life. I can't really have it go higher up because at that point it'll start colliding with like the terrain. So I think I'm going to actually make it stoop down low a bit. And then in this wall here, I'm going to build a super smelter and I'm going to find a new place for my bookshelves and enchanting table. In terms of actually theming this place, my idea is to get a bunch of stairs like this, and then if I go ahead and make myself some trapdoors to use, I can create a little bit of texture like this, including that slight little difference where the log is, which actually makes a huge difference when just passing by here. And suddenly we've got ourselves a lot nicer of a hallway to stroll through. I'm also going to have to move these real quick. But if I just change out the floors, which I plan on doing, just imagine this part extending so much further out, and we'll end up moving part of the sheep farm, just so I don't have to dip down really suddenly to get the wool. Shout out to the stonecutter, I love this block so much. But we can just take care of these little inconsistencies, and we can try and unify things with this kind of stone brick floor, which actually complements the oranges and the tans of this place really well. I can also dedicate a couple of these to being some more chiseled stone bricks, and I can use that just to add a little bit of texture variety to when there's a big open extended floor, but for something like this, I just want to maintain that tile pattern that I have going on, and then extend this out with some more jungle stuff. So I'm currently just looking around the nether because I want to kill some endermans for something. And I think this is my first basalt delta that I've ever seen. Huh. I guess it wouldn't hurt to get some magma cream around here. Hey, this place looks familiar. I forgot how stupid this staircase was. Feels like just yesterday I was digging this out. Water. While I'm down here, I'm gonna take some spore blossoms, as well as some of these azalea bushes. Somehow I forgot that I needed only like 7 eyes for this. Just gonna cover this up before anything goes wrong. That's the last one, I guess. Alright, we're good to go. Oh, that was almost 4 in a row. Alright, last shot. And it missed. One of these will hit. It'll be very bad. There we go! Woo! And then the dragon just does a victory lap while trying to perch down to do the death animation. I'm just gonna use this as an opportunity to mend everything. Hurling through here is always the scariest part, so my plan is to just swim through instead. Oh. This is a really weird spot. Ooh, there's an end city right there. Does it have a ship, though? Doesn't look like it. I love how those end glows look. They just add so much to the dimension. Ship! I get that it's probably unwise, but I'll Ender Pearl along the way there. Because I really also want to get an Endermite to spawn. Did that just land on an Enderman? I also love how these glows make a very clear contrast between the green underside and the purple kind of topping to the end. Alright, my plan is to let this shulker shoot me because I am out of blocks. And I can just levitate on over to the ship. I don't feel like floating up this much though. That's what the water's for. Sky's the limit. And now it's enchanted. Aw, yeah. And so I explored the vast end, and I came to realize that one, shulkers are extremely annoying to fight, so I only settled with roughly enough for about 14 boxes. But I also realized just how much of a mistake I made not bringing a crafting table or a chest in order to make more shulker boxes while I was there. I think that's enough though, so I'm gonna head back. And I'm going to follow this little purple thing because I believe that is a marking of where 0, 0 is. This would be such a cool base location just in the middle of the Ender Void. Yeah, the thing's disappeared now, so I guess it was a marking of where 0, 0, 0 is. But now I can head back. Feels nice being home. Just set these away, as well as these. Get some of this put away, and a little bit of this. Got some elytras in here now, as well as an armor trim. This is where the base takes a little bit of a direction shift. We have this kind of makeshift aesthetic going on, and this house is very simplistic in terms of what's inside of it, minus a bit of the stuff down here, but even then, it's still kind of chalked up to standard starter base. But if we go through this little curtain that I designed, this is where we're going to have one of the big selling points of this base. Because I have been noticing a lot of anomalies around this area, and I'm making it my job to research them. And my idea is that if I create a nice enough laboratory, then I'll have some luck with getting stuff done. So anyways, I dug a hole, and I don't think I have enough stone storage space for all of this. Doesn't look like it. I am officially promoting this chest to purely stone. Although I do have an idea of how to make it more compact. We just grab these, we can make ourselves a shulker box, grab some light gray dye, and we can turn into a light gray shulker box, get our anvil back, and name this stone. And we can start putting all the stone inside of here. Put that in there, and now we have a shulker box of stone available. Now we'll make another shulker box, and we'll dye it white, as well as make a little bit of pink dye. We'll make another shulker box, and we'll make this one pink. This will be for diorite. And this one will be for andesite. Sorry, not andesite, this one's going to be for granite. And with my diorite box, I can just kind of start running around here and collecting all the diorite. We can just put that in there now. Let's just quickly put our granite away. And we can take the stone one all the way over here. And it looks like the stone just despawned, so that's unfortunate. But we can put what we have remaining in the shulker box. Now we have to do a quick little trip to kill some squids. First of all, I just want to fly around here a little bit. And if I turn on shaders, which may cause the game to freeze a bit here, you can see that with the setting sun, the background, the rising moon, this place just looks beautiful from up here. And even when I turn the shaders off, you can see that it's still just so vibrant and there's a lot going on here. Anyways, with this, I can make some black dye, and I also want to make a little bit of gray dye. We're going to make a gray shulker box, and this one is going to be cobblestone. And we'll also make ourselves a black shulker box. Honestly, I wish you could craft shulker boxes like this, where you could just dye them off the get-go. And this one's going to be for deep slate. Now, andesite is not covered yet, but if that becomes a problem, then I'll actually include it. We can get this box down, put down our deep slate and cobbled deep slate. And I think I am going to just leave the ores on the bottom. They shouldn't be that much of an issue, but it really just shows how unorganized some of this stuff has gotten. But now I can look at this chest and just not be overwhelmed. I don't really think any other chest needs that treatment yet, though. I mean, this one's getting pretty bad, but these are just walls that I can use for building and like farms and stuff. I also just realized I gotta get this glass pane back set up. We love our data packs. I guess while I'm looking through here, there's not really anything that sticks out. Maybe I could get each ore their own shulker box if iron or copper overflows a bit too much, but I think it should be fine. Alright, it's ocean monument time because we need to get some of these sea lanterns. And as I went through the ocean monument, I realized something terrifying. There's just like no sea lanterns here, and they're expensive. I can't just go around and kill guardians for it, so we're gonna have to make a guardian farm to deal with this. So I may have forgot to hit start recording on the time lapse, but it's done, at least, and it's getting me guardian drops. So how this farm works is that there are these soul sand columns that are right around here, and when guardians spawn in, they will be pushed up and go up this really funny scaffolding elevator, where then they will be pushed over into the soulfire killing chamber, because I guess soulfire and water can coexist, and the guardians get looted and they die. This design was uploaded to YouTube by Shulkercraft, and I heavily recommend you check out his channel. I'll link it in the description, as well as the video I used for this. And I made one tiny little modification that doesn't involve the main farm, but if I go down here, you can see that I have another ender pearl in stasis, so this chunk will always be loaded, and hopefully that'll give a little bit of passive profit. But the big part of the farm comes from this waiting chamber up here, where, if I remember this correctly, I just stand here and I wait. And I don't like waiting up here like this, so I am going to block myself off so phantoms don't get me, just in case. But if we go all the way back down here, you can see that a bulk of the guardians are now spawning here, and this is what we love to see. Seriously, look at how many of them there are. This is crazy. And the fact that these ones just kind of lose interest and despawn after a bit. I guess the game doesn't prioritize them compared to all these guys. And you can just see the madness that ensues over here. So what I'm going to do is, it is currently 2:47 p.m. and I am going to AFK here until about maybe 5 o'clock, so we can see what roughly 2 hours of this farm can do. Slight problem. So, I accidentally stayed here for about 2 hours longer than expected, and this farm is way too efficient. And at first glance, it's like, oh, well, it's just 3 double chests plus overflow. And then you realize I've already gotten a shulker box full of these things, so I'm probably going to have to get more and do multiple trips. For reference, 5 stacks of crystals, 4 stacks of shards gives you a full stack of sea lanterns. And with that, I welcome the latest addition to our storage, Prismarine. Because you can also take these shards and craft them into either Prismarine or Prismarine bricks. It takes 4 of them to make 1 Prismarine, and it takes 9 of them to make a brick. So it is not cheap by any means, and this is why we needed the Guardian farm. So anyways, here are 6 shulker boxes that I'll be using for moving stuff between farms and the base. I'm on my way back right now, and as you can see, we have just a ton of Prismarine and some extra ink sacs. But I honestly don't know what I'm going to do about this farm, because we have gotten so much just from that first bit, and now I'm going to have to quickly put this all into storage. Yeah, I think I'm pretty set for Prismarine for a while. I do have an idea, though, regarding what I can do with shulker boxes. And it involves this little iron farm right here. You just check up on it. Yeah, that's full. So anyways, here's a full shulker box full of iron. And as you can see, we're running out of spaces for poppies. But our iron is still being kept in check. Woo! That was a very dangerous flight out of there. I don't know how I survived that. Anyways, the iron can go right up here. So here's the basis for the roof design I'm thinking of. If I get this kind of trim out of both trapdoors, and direction doesn't matter, so that's nice replacement, And then on the inside, again, alternating pattern between having probably about 4 of these bricks, 8 sea lanterns, 4 bricks, 8 sea lanterns. And if I keep repeating this, you can see that the measurements kind of fit up perfectly, which is great. And then on top of that, I can kind of separate the panels by getting another stone brick line going through, while still having the trapdoors cut through, and it creates this really nice pattern. You also might have noticed that I have a lot of iron trapdoors, and that is because they're very nice decoration block, and, you know, I have the iron for it. And if anything, I need an excuse to get rid of some of this iron. But what we're going to do now is actually head on over to the end, because I need more endstone. Hey look, we got some endstone. So anyways, want to see me finish this roof? Yeah, this is pretty cool. Now something else that I can do is if I hollow out this entire layer, and if I fill it up with a bunch of sea lanterns, you can see that suddenly now the lighting in this room is very good. The only problem is that these clash heavily. So the general idea here is that I get the floor underneath, and I can put a lever on the underside. And then if I get one of these trapdoors, you can see that places upwards, and it creates this nice ridge, but also just adds just that little bit of extra texture and blending, and that's exactly what I'm looking for. But that means we're going to have to quickly do the floor. Now, the only problem to this is there are these corner pieces where I can't have 2 separate trapdoors. So I'm just going to add this kind of little design in each corner, and that should make things better. Meanwhile, if I just take out my trapdoors now, I've got everything on the underside placed, as you can see, with all these levers, and I can just start going at it with placing in all of the trapdoors. As for this upper section, what I'll do is I'll grab another set of these, and I do want to actually not have another trim here, but instead I want to grab a lot of these slabs, make an overhang like this, have this kind of loose staircase that's going up. From here I can grab some iron bars and create a little observational deck and balcony, and I can take out some of this endstone and replace it with andesite as a sort of beaming. So I'm actually going to scratch this idea, and what I'll do instead is I will get back all the endstone that I placed down, and I will create these supports out of iron here, and I will just make standard andesite pillars rather than having them have these weird curves, because that doesn't feel too realistic. I want more of an emphasis on the center area, so I'm going to be making a 2-block space and then a 3-block space. I can also craft some polished andesite slabs, because these are twice as efficient for making a floor. With these things, you end up getting 6 for every 3 blocks, so that's basically a 2 for 1, and since you only need the bottom side covered, it's perfect. Honestly, one thing that I wish with these kind of stone bricks for like andesite, granite, diorite, is that there was a smooth variant that didn't have these lines, because I think it would look so cool if I had those extra pixels to create the kind of jagged tile look, then a smooth ring, then another jagged tile ring, and so on. And now we have pretty much the entire shell of the room complete, per se. And let me just check up on the wool farm. It's getting some wool. It'll take its time. But the big focus from here is going to be filling this up with cool machines that we're going to need to research these anomalies. Now let's talk basics of what we need to get here. So for one, I am going to carve out this area, and we'll get a door here eventually, but we're just going to hollow this out. And this right here will be the area where I keep my furnaces for now, until I build a super smelter. And the only problem I have with it is that it kind of juts out of the back here, so I'm going to have to do a little bit of terraforming. I also just now noticed that there are 3 skeleton horses, 4, who've just been kind of sitting down here, so we'll have to document that eventually. We're going to need some fuel for this, so I have gotten some AFKing done beforehand, just so I can get enough blocks of bamboo to turn these into planks, and we'll be using this in the meantime. Now, the beauty of these bamboo blocks is that they normally only smelt 1.5 per. However, you can craft them into planks, and that doubles the amount that you can smelt. So now we've gotten every single furnace here loaded up with 64 of these planks, and we have the excess stored in this copper chest here. I love these smelter setups. I just hate the fact that vanilla smelters are so bad for doing things in bulk. Welcome another new storage edition, colored blocks. In order to make this a proper lab, I'm going to have to set up some caution tape, so I'm going to do that right now. Alright, that part should be good. However, what I'm thinking is that we are going to have to set up something for a bit more serious research. Now, by no means am I certified to operate it, but now I own a laser analyzer anyways. We got ourselves a nice little computer set up, and we have 2 little battery modules to keep it powered. We got ourselves some wall tubes to help maintain the power and a copper pipe to maintain the flow. And now we got ourselves a little dragon head in a jar, as well as a little outlet in case we want to connect something up to here. It's officially the next day because I decided to need a break. And, you know, I got some of these, like, cool little lights here. I got these more connector bits. Got a little observational window up there. But I also have this. So this right here is our main supercomputer, or at least the display of it. And we have a specific little jungle villager here, which is very special because you can only breed to get them. And we have a zombie villager in here, and this is an experiment to try and see if we can somehow get a remote cure going on for zombie villagers. As you can see, it's supported by all these chains and pulleys, and we have a little power cube in the middle here. And as you can see, this part of the room is looking very nice now, but we still need to figure out what to do here. If we lay these all out, get some levers going on behind the walls, and with these levers we can get some trapdoors down that are facing the correct way. And suddenly, just like that, we have some servers that are here to store all of our data. So we've got ourselves a little temperature regulator here. We've got ourselves this kind of beeper device, as well as these 2 monitors. And with the servers also installed, I think this main area is very lively and pretty much all done for now. But we still have to work on this. You know, sometimes I forget that I'm doing this for a video, and I do small little bursts over time without documenting them, which that's kind of how I went around this place. You know, I did all these, like, small little bursts, and I actually documented them. But then I completely forgot to document what I did to the inside of this. So I got this little Blackstone lantern thing, which I feel kind of iffy about. I might replace this with a normal lantern. But I also got this little smoker here, flanked by these acacia trapdoors to kind of contrast it from the jungle. I got myself a little pot here, a little tree, and if we go up here, you can see there's kind of this tarp over the window, but there's these little shelves. You can combine a big pot with a little pot and a little azalea bush inside to make this cool little thing. And over here, I am using armor stands to create these kind of mini blocks that I can also walk through. So you can see there's a mini barrel here. There's a little mini pot with this azalea bush on the inside. And I still need to do the tunnel here. But overall, this place is starting to look really nice on the inside all the way through. Now, I still have to do a little bit of decoration around here, especially where the killing chamber is. And I gotta figure out a place for this brewing stand. So I've done a little bit of tweaking, where I've got a little signal going out the back, which prevents this calibrated skulk sensor from making noise. And I'm additionally going to put these trapdoors over it so you can't even see the skulk part. And I also fixed the placement, because I had the placement wrong. You're supposed to connect the pink line to where you want to feed the signal into. And in my case, the pink line was facing to the right. So, of course, it wasn't detecting anything. But we start with a base like that, place it like so, get this over. You can see we still remain the little bud, but it's fully covered up now, and that looks really nice. I can add a little trapdoor here, which gives this just a little bit more depth, and I can get a little trapdoor there, which gives a little more texture. and kind of hides the sea lantern from this side, even though you can still see it on the top. But this door right here, I believe it's magical. I don't even think I have to work on this. I think if I just put a button here, it just opens up for me. So now I can clear out this entire room. And while I'm at it, I might as well just close the door behind me. I will say, though, with everything that's been kind of... How did you get here? With everything that's been kind of going on all around the place, I feel like it's time to branch out a bit more. And hopefully I have discovered a way out. At least for now, this place seems a bit rough. I mean, there's an Enderman up here with sand. There's one in the watchtower with grass. Despite the kind of emptiness of it all, there's still so much life down here. But maybe there's a way to get to some place that has life. We just need to go somewhere else. But I need to be better equipped for the job. I think what I need to do for this adventure is leave pretty much everything behind. Although I guess my gear can go in a separate little ender chest here. We need to make sure that we're fully cleansed, so we're gonna have to die here. There we go. Levels are gone. Now we can head downstairs. And what we have on right now will not cut it for whatever may be out there. But with a little magic, we are fully prepared to go into the unknown. I'll see you guys on the other side, wherever that may be.